Welcome to my new In the News on the Move with moi, Marnie Sala, series here on YouTube, where I will be bringing you news from the worlds of triathlon, running, cycling, and wellness, all the things I typically talk about here on the channel. Today, I'm talking about some exciting news from the worlds of Ironman, New York Roadrunners, TCS NYC Marathon, United Half Marathon, and the Maybelline half, as well as a new collab that Puma has announced with Say Sky. All right, let's get into it. Also, I don't have a teleprompter, so there is a chance I will be reading, but this is the news until I have a teleprompter. I'm just trying to get you the info and the updates. Let's do this. Ironman and Ironman 70.3 racing in Canada and the US is continuing to grow for 2025 events. Multiple races are sold out already, and several are nearly 80% full. I already signed up for Muscleman 70.3, and that is one of the races that is 80% full. It has been voted by athletes as one of the best races of all the Ironman 70.3s, and I have to say, I agree. As someone who's done this race a few times, both as a relay and as a full, obviously, triathlon, the bike course is outstanding. And yes, the swim can be brutal, only because you swim about 500 yards and then it's a bump and jump type chop situation anytime I've done the swim. And the run recently has been changed to a mostly uphill run. But if you're into cycling and you like an awesome bike course, which is really, I think, where everything happens during a triathlon is on the bike, you will be willing to suffer through the swim and the run because this is just a beautiful, awesome, flat, fast bike course. I've also signed up for New York 70.3, which is one of the top growth markets for Ironman in their data and trends analysis, which I'm going to share with you shortly. But I'm doing the 70.3 again in New York at Jones Beach as a relay. Look, this is where I grew up, Long Island, and I don't want to swim in that bay. It's just not my jam. I do love the bike course. Again, I'm a sucker for a good bike course, so I love flat and fast. And the run is also flat, not fast. It's all along the beach, and typically I've done it twice now as a relay, and the last 2 years it's been a hurricane and torrential rain and wind. But look, I still signed up, so there's something good about it, right? Anyway, Sarah Dimmick from Physical Equilibrium is my swim partner in this race, and she loves it. Beyond New York and Muscleman, Mont Tremblant, Oregon, and Canada, Ottawa triathlons are growing in popularity for Ironman. The Ironman 70.3 Muscleman, which I was just talking about, takes place in the Finger Lakes, upstate New York, and it has been voted best overall event satisfaction and best bike course for the 2024 Global Ironman Athletes' Choice Awards. So it's not just me that loves this course. Other events that are very popular and selling out for Ironman are, and I'm just going to read this, Ironman 70.3 Mont Tremblant, Ironman 70.3 Oregon, Canada, Ottawa triathlons, popular destinations, selling out quickly since they opened in 2024. Also, demand has continued for early year sellouts for Ironman Texas, Ironman 70.3 St. George, which is a beautiful, beautiful course. It's kind of challenging, but that bike ride, I don't know, it's all about the bike ride for me. And the swim just has to be doable. And I can do any run. So basically, yeah. So 70.3 Chattanooga, which I've heard is a great race, 70.3 Rockford, Illinois, and of course Oceanside Triathlon 70.3, which I would never do but would love to go spectate because it's just so cool. These are all races that are quickly selling out for Ironman. All right, let's geek out on some data because Ironman put out some trends and fun facts about who is racing, what the age range is, which races women prefer. So let's get into this because I think it's fun. Digging into recent data indicates a growing popularity of the sport of triathlon amongst younger athletes, with participation figures for 18 to 35-year-olds across North America at an all-time high. So 18 to 35-year-olds across North America are at an all-time high. I actually started doing triathlon when I was around 39, so that's interesting to me. Additionally, female participation is on the rise at a 10% increase. Post-pandemic intercontinental traveling has returned, with states of California, Texas, New York, and Florida making up a big contingency of the people traveling for races within the North American event circuit. In 2024, another fun fact, over 50,000 people finished their first Ironman, or 70.3, in Canada and the US. That is a 4% increase. Most popular races among women in 2024, Ironman 70.3 Oregon, Chattanooga, Louisville, Washington, Tri-Cities, and North Carolina. Top 5 growth markets for 2024, Louisville, Kentucky, Seattle, Washington, Denver, Colorado, Chicago, Illinois, and New York. The most popular races amongst 18 to 35-year-olds are 70.3 Victoria, Boulder, La Quinta, Mont Tremblant, and Maine. I've always wanted to do Maine, but I heard it's a river swim, and so therefore there's a big current, and I've catastrophized me being pushed down the river in the current, not being able to get out. Welcome to my world. That's it for the world of Ironman today. I mean, there's so much more data, but that's all I'm sharing. Now, this weekend is a super exciting weekend in New York City. It is the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon, and it is going to be awesome. New York Roadrunners is expecting over 27,000 athletes to be running and racing in this event. For nearly 2 decades, this 13.1 half marathon has been an iconic event here in New York City. It takes athletes from Brooklyn into Manhattan. It's one of the most sought out races on the New York Roadrunners race circuit, besides the New York City Marathon. Known as the one to run, this year, New York Roadrunners is featuring an iconic new course where athletes will be running from Brooklyn over the Brooklyn Bridge as opposed to the Manhattan Bridge. The Manhattan Bridge is under construction, and the Brooklyn Bridge is a beautiful change in this course. If you're a New Yorker or live in the surrounding areas, you know this is a freaking awesome opportunity. You can never run over the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, I don't know, I see all these run clubs and athletes doing photos on the bridge, but unless you're going over that bridge at like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, I think it's pretty hard to run over that bridge. There's just so many people. There's vendors, there's cyclists, people walking their dogs. It's not a fun place to run, typically. You got to hit it at the right time. Anyway, it's closed this weekend, and athletes, 27,000, are going to be running over this bridge. The United Airlines New York City Half brings together an entire world of athletes, from professionals, elites, recreational runners, and over 1,500 youth athletes run through Times Square. It's a pretty incredible and iconic event. Even if you're spectating, it's empowering. And what's so interesting is the United Airlines sponsorship. Essentially, United Airlines sponsors the race and has been a sponsor now for over a decade. They are going to have flight attendants and staff at the finish line handing out medals, and they also offer to their mileage club program opportunities for people to run the race. So it's an interesting partnership and a good one for New York Roadrunners for sure. I've never flown on United, but since I've been kind of dialed into the New York City Half and the partnerships and doing this media, I'm curious what it's like to fly on United, and I know they fly out of Newark, which is an easy airport for me to get to. But yeah, I've never flown on United. And look, I am one of the runners who is now thinking about it thanks to their partnership. Also in the news with New York Roadrunners, they have a new app that covers all of their races. So in the past, they've had like the TCS New York City Marathon app or apps for particular races. Now they have a new app which you can get in the App Store on Apple or Google. All right, let's get into the pro athlete field because this is also pretty major. Again, I don't have a teleprompter, so I'm just reading the press release, but let's do this. New York Roadrunners has a star-studded field of Olympic and professional athletes coming to New York City, of course, to do this race. People are coming from 14 countries, 30 Olympians and Paralympians, a few who have been on the Marnie on the Move podcast, several national record holders, the 2024 defending champions in the men's and women's open and wheelchair divisions, Abel Kipchumba of Kenya, Carolyn Bjerkeli Grovdal of Norway. I hope I said that right. It's a hard one. Geert Schipper of the Netherlands, and Susanna Scaroni of the US. If you have not heard any or many of my conversations with Susanna, I interviewed her at the finish line of the New York City Marathon last year. She's also been a guest on this podcast several times. Head over and listen. She's an incredible athlete. All of these athletes are returning to compete in this race this weekend. Other top names in the men's open division include American half marathon record holder Conor Mantz, Olympic medalist Mo Ahmed, two-time U.S. Olympian Woody Kincaid. Mo Ahmed and Woody Kincaid are making their half marathon debuts here in New York City. On the women's side, for the open division, 2022 TCS New York City Marathon champion Sharon Lokedi and 3 members of the 2024 U.S. Olympic team, Fiona O'Keefe, Dakota Popin, and Emily Sisson, are all coming to compete and race in the New York City half this weekend. In the wheelchair division, familiar faces who have been here consistently over the years, Tatiana McFadden, Manuela Schar, and Danielle Romanchuk. New to the United Airlines New York City Half Marathons is the opportunity for athletes to race on behalf of New York Roadrunners Team for Climate, which was introduced last year at the 2024 New York City Marathon. The Team for Climate is New York Roadrunners' commitment to ensuring future generations have access to clean air, green spaces, and a healthy environment to run in. It's a nonprofit that launched, as I said, last year in 2024, and it's a new way for runners to enter into the 3 iconic races, the TCS New York City Marathon, United Airlines New York City Half, and the Brooklyn Half Marathon. Also new to the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon is the Zen Zone and Sensory Space, which are at the start line where athletes can kind of chill out and disconnect from the race energy of the morning. If they're nervous, if they want to just sit down and relax, listen to a meditation. And the sensory zone is for athletes that have sensory sensitivities. It provides a low stimulation environment to relax, recharge, and refocus amongst and amid the race day excitement. These are just a few really awesome things about the about the United Airlines New York City Half this weekend. Also in the news, you can watch the United Airlines New York City Half on ABC if you're in the New York tri-state area, and also on ESPN Plus. And side note, podcast guest Bex Gentry will be one of the broadcasters. In other news, let's talk about the Shape More Half Marathon. Now, if you've done this popular half marathon here in New York over the past decade or so, it is 2 loops of Central Park. This year, they have a new sponsor. And I was wondering, actually, when this would happen because, all these media platforms are gone. So, Shape still has a digital platform, but now Maybelline New York is the new sponsor of this iconic women's half marathon in New York City. Maybelline, and now it is called the Maybelline Half. Super psyched. I'm not racing it this year thanks to my ankle, but I will be spectating, and it is a super awesome race. The race is sold out, and they have over 5,000 participants, which is pretty awesome for a local New York race. All right, in other New York Roadrunner news, the TCS New York City Marathon this week received over 200,000 applicants, and only 2 to 3% of those people get selected to race for the 2025 TCS New York City Marathon. But the good news is that New York Roadrunners has opened up other ways for people to enter and to claim a spot this year. So I'm going to read those to you because there are like 5 of them. New York Roadrunners has seen unprecedented demand for this popular race. Athletes and runners from over 150 countries. Last year, the race had 55,643 finishers. Last year, the 2024 TCS New York City Marathon had over 55,643 finishers. I was at the finish line interviewing the pros, and it was seriously next level. Thousands of runners do the popular New York Roadrunners 9+1 program, which is what I did in 2023. And it's a really amazing opportunity if you live locally to do all the races all year long, and then you automatically get the opportunity to sign up and pay for the TCS New York City Marathon. You can also do the New York Roadrunners virtual racing, and you can be a time qualifier. You can also run for charity, and runners who have competed over 15 times in the New York City Marathon get automatic entry, and they are called streakers. People who do not get picked through the drawing still have opportunities to enter and sign up for the New York City Marathon. Here's how. You can run for charity. There are over 600 charities that you can sign up for and raise money, which is an amazing way to do. In 2024, the charity initiative raised over $70 million for a variety of charities. You can also raise money for the New York Roadrunners Team for Climate, which is what I mentioned when I was talking about the New York City Half Marathon a few minutes ago. If you want to learn more about Team for Climate, head over to the New York Roadrunners website to learn more. For the second year in a row, New York Roadrunners is offering a second chance to their members to get their name entered into a second drawing for the TCS New York City Marathon. Most of these things have already happened, but there's one thing you can still sign up for, and that is the TCS New York City Marathon free race entry sweepstakes. This is a complimentary opportunity to run for you and a friend. Here's how it works. It launched on March 8th, which was a few days ago, and closes March 22nd. You go to their website, sign up for the sweepstakes, enter your name and your friend's name. A total of 10 winners are selected. I think that's a pretty awesome way to sign up for the New York City Marathon. All right, in other news, Puma and SaySky have teamed up for a collaboration across apparel and running shoes. I'm super excited to join them this weekend in Central Park for a run. I am not running, do not worry. I'm just gonna go hang out and be part of the run vibes. Part of this collection is apparel and also co-branded running silhouettes, the DV8 Nitro 3, DV8 Nitro Elite 3, and the Forever Run Nitro 2. All right, I know this was a long one, but let me know what you want to hear more about, what you want to hear less about. Maybe it's too long. I'd love your feedback in the comments, like this episode to show that you like the episode, and subscribe to the channel. All right, over and out. See you next week.